Okay, good evening, everybody. It is 6:04, so we'll get started with the January 13th Planning Development and Zoning Commission meeting. We'll start with roll call. Ryan Miller, that's me. Kyle Maraskin.
Here.
Marianne Atkinson.
Here.
Kenneth Haynes.
Here.
Christy Kennard is not here with us tonight. Dolores Martin.
Here.
And William Richardson.
Here.
Excellent. If I can get everybody to stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Flag.
Allegiance
Allegiance to thee.
Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. Let's see. It looks like up next, first, is there any public comment cards outside of the public hearings?
Nobody signed up for one.
Okay, excellent. And then it looks like there is a staff presentation next.
Yes. So we have two public hearing items, and the way we would go about is we'll have presentations on both the items, and then we can have the public hearing individually, or you can have the presentation, public hearing on that item, then the presentation and public hearing on that item. I know we have at least one gentleman who's here to speak as part of the public hearing for one of the items.
Okay. Yeah, I guess let's just do the presentation of the public hearing, and then we'll do the next one. So
Sure. Ellie?
Good evening. The request is for amending to zoning and development related provisions for the Manvel Town Center Plan Unit Development. Ordinance number 2017-0-33 established in the Manvel Town Center PUD district, outlining specific zoning and development standards. The Weitzman Group, who is the applicant, is presenting the Manvel Town Center Ltd, has been working with staff to amend the PUD requirements. Due to delay in obtaining signature from all property owners, the applicant previously requested and received several variances under the existing PUD or provisions. One of them was about minimum one-way aisle width for HEB, approved in 2022. Another one was about maximum height of wall sign. One variance for HEB, approved in September 2023, another one for Lowe's, October 2024. Another variance was for parking reduction for Lowe's, October 2024, and the other variance was for use of off-street parking for open space, for open storage, approved October 2024. This proposed amendment is for parking reduction to adjust parking requirements for large retail buildings with equal or more than 80,000 square feet to 4 spaces per 1,000 square feet plus 2 spaces per 1,000 square feet for outdoor garden centers. Lighting requirements to replace current outdoor lighting standards with the City of Manvel regulations, requiring all new fixtures to be LED. Regarding off-street parking for open storage, to allow up to 12% of parking spaces to be used for storage for buildings with equal or more than 80,000 square feet of gross leasable area. Regarding signage adjustment, for multi-tenant pylon signage, one multi-tenant pylon sign per entrance with no text approval required. For single-tenant monument pylon signs, to allow one sign per public street, removing minimum distance requirement. They amended to include multi-tenant monument signs with definition and minimum size requirement, which is maximum of 5 feet height and 50 square feet area. Regarding wall signage, permit maximum letter height of 120 inches for tenants with equal or more than 8,000 square feet and up to 198 inches for anchor tenants with equal or more than 120,000 square feet area. About general signage requirements, they wanted to add spacing, minimum spacing requirements for various sign types. Regarding permitted use, they request to expand permitted use to include convenience stores, gas stations, general merchandise stores without distance and floor area restrictions, ambulatory health care services, medical, dental, and personal care services, including massage establishment and nail salons. Staff findings: the proposed amendments address the involving needs of Manvel Town Center development while maintaining alignment with the city's goal. These adjustments provide flexibility for large-scale retail operations and remove additional specific use permit processes. The changes are reasonable and promote efficient development while ensuring compliance with the city standards. Based on these, city staff recommends approval of request amendment to the zoning and development related provisions for Manvel Town Center PUD. If you have any question, I'm glad to answer that.
Okay, thank you. Can you speak at all to just about the, like the sign standards and stuff like that in there, the sizing? Is that consistent with what other cities and stuff are doing or size-wise?
Yes, during the variance request for HEB and what was the other one? Lowe's, we reviewed them, and yes, it's same as the other cities.
Okay, and the parking requirement as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I add just one thing?
Yes, sir.
So one of the things to keep in mind is some of these changes that are being proposed has already been included as a variance that was previously issued by City Council, number one. And number two, one of the things to keep in mind is some of these changes is considered with the understanding that this is a unified sort of a bigger development rather than standalone. So when we look at it collectively, it all seems to work well for the entire center.
Okay. I think my only other question then is, I know in the SUP list there, the only one that seemed to stand out was gas stations. I know that's been a point of contention in the past. Is that with the distance requirement that we have in the
gas station within so many.
Yeah, because there's already one gas station in there, and there's others that are close. So I don't know if anybody can speak to that.
Yeah, we can. So one of the things that happened was when the PUD was adopted, I don't think we had the SUP specific requirement on gas station and convenience stores with the predetermined conditions. So the intent when the PUD was adopted was to allow these uses. However, the developer right now is limiting it to a total number of 3 within, if I'm correct, it's 3?
Yes, 3.
A total number of 3 within the entire center, which would align with the intent of the then adopted PUD, because some of the requirements that came in later on. So we're recommending approval based on the understanding that the PUD was adopted with an intent that they would have the ability to have certain number of gas station and convenience stores spread out so that it's not kind of clustered together and it's not, clustered together basically, and it's developed in a fashion which is in line with the overall scheme of design for the town center itself.
Okay, great.
So the 3 is just 2 more than with HEB there, the 2 more.
That is what my understanding is, correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Would
yeah.
that include the one that Tractor Supply wants to put the raceway in front, or is that going to not be in that area? I mean, I know it's that area, but would that?
I'm not 100% sure about some of the specific businesses you mentioned, but we have our applicant here. They can maybe better answer that question.
Yes, sir. If I can just get you to step up to the microphone for me, sir. And if you can just push the button so the green light is on. Thank you.
There you go. Right now, it would include the Tractor Supply site, and then one more. We have another 100-plus acres, 72 to the north of what you're seeing being developed now, 32 across the street from HEB. We're restricted with HEB not to add another fuel center as long as HEB is there. And so the thought would be maybe across the street might be an option as we design that 32 acres in our mind, and then it protects, obviously, the Tractor Supply site.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for our guest?
I noticed LED lighting, but is it specific to downlighting that it will not shine on anybody else's property that's around the area?
We have those provisions, and they added
That's in
that.
our actual ordinance, but I
Yes.
mean, I just wondered.
Yes, we
And my
have.
other
that.
thing is on the, what is it, the wall-mounted signage. I know it's increased to 120 inches. That's a 10-foot sign
Yeah, but that's limited to buildings that.
on the wall.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
on the building.
Yes, buildings that are, like, for example, and you can see the HEB sign meets that requirement.
Okay.
Or is within that allowance. So what we had noticed is the initial requirements that was put in place, it worked for some of the smaller buildings and buildings that are up front. But when your building is a huge building, which is set way back, to make sure it works
Okay,
in
so
terms
that's
of
where
its
the
scale.
gauge comes in.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
yeah. What was the other one? Same with the parking. I'm assuming that you said that's based on other data?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I know the original sign ordinance and parking ordinance was really designed for smaller buildings. So, yeah.
As far as the lighting, I just, because it said that instead of Brazoria County and that, is our restrictions more than the counties, is what I'm taking?
The one that we had before, it says Fort Bend County, which was incorrect. So since we have that in our ordinance now, we asked them to include that one.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And if we have any other questions too, we still have the agenda item as well. So if we're ready, then I guess we'll go and do the public hearing on this, and then that'll allow us to come up with any other questions for y'all during the agenda item there. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do our first public hearing tonight of two. The first one will be to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city by amending the planned unit development zoning classification set forth in Ordinance 2017-0-33, amending the PUD document provisions relating to minimum parking requirements, lighting, allowances for open storage, signage, and permitted uses, affecting approximately 248.53 acres located in the general area of the northwest corner of the intersection Highway 288 and State Highway 6, and generally located in Brazoria County Municipal District 42, such tracts being situated in Section 72 of the HTBRR County Company Survey, Abstract 291, Section 66, Abstract 560, and Section 72, Abstract 460, City of Manvel, Brazoria County, Texas, and also 3 additional tracts totaling approximately 20.9 acres, also situated within Brazoria County Municipal Utility District 42, providing for amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing for a penalty in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of the violations of any provision hereof. Great. So we will open the floor for any public comments on this public hearing. And second call for comments. Yes, sir. If I can just get you to state your name and address, and just limit your comments to 3 minutes for me, please.
Okay, my name is Jim Winsler. I own 44.27% of tract 13, lot 13 in abstract 291, HT and C Railroad Company abstract 291. First of all, on the Manvel Town Center map, the tract which I own an interest in, that south half of that tract has been outlined with, depicted on your all's map as being in the Manvel Town Center. And I've never been contacted or my permission's never been gotten for anything regarding this. I own an undivided interest in that tract, and there's another party that owns the remainder percentage in that tract. But I'm on the tax rolls. I've been rendered for years, and I'm just, this letter that I got from you all was the first indication that I got. I was never even informed when the PUD was first done back, I guess, in
17, it looks like.
2017. There was no notifications given to me, no registered letters, no anything was given to me with regards to that being put in a PUD. My interest is within the confines of that whole 10.3 acres, not a 5.1 and a 4.56 specifically that you could put a fence around. So that's my question is why? How did I get put in the Manvel Town Center plat as my property without my permission? And B, why was I never informed of back in 2017 when the PUD was formulated? I'm on the tax rolls. I pay my taxes on this property every year. Like I said, this letter is the first thing that I've ever gotten regarding that property other than paying the taxes. And of course, then it also got put in a mud district, and I've been paying the taxes for that.
Okay.
So, and I just want to know what the impact is going to have on me with this amendment to the ordinance.
That's a very good question. So this part here is, you can ask us questions, but we can't really respond to you right now.
Okay.
But I'm going to get these guys over here to start.
They're going to look at it. I brought this up before when
Okay.
there was enough people in here, and so I mean we got the ball rolling anyway. But I just.
But no, that's a good question. We'll ask that question when we get to the agenda item, and hopefully have an answer as well. So.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Second call for comments. And third and final call for comments. Okay, we'll close this public hearing at 6:21. Okay. Do y'all have a presentation for the second public hearing? Okay.
Yes, we do. So this second public hearing item is a city-initiated request for an SUP for a outdoor shooting range for Manvel City of Manvel Police Department's training purposes. It'll be like an arms training facility. The subject site is 400 feet by 200 feet, approximately 0.18 acre portion of a larger acreage owned by Houston Pipeline Company. The City of Manvel's Police Department and the owner is intending to get into a lease agreement so that the Police Department can use that use the property as a shooting range. The city's zoning ordinance requires that any use that is categorized as NAICS use number 7133990, all other amusement and recreation industries, would require an SUP be approved by the city council, and then the city council needs Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission's recommendation to take action. The subject site, location-wise, it's behind the Public Works Department facility. It's surrounded by vegetation. The nearest residence on the other side of Uzel Road is about 540 feet away from the subject site. The property is an existing concrete slab from a previous development, and the police department is wanting to use this site as the shooting range with a berm around it, which would be approximately 21 feet tall and 42 feet wide berm to help with sound reduction. The applicant, which is the City of Manvel Police Department, they've indicated that all the operation and everything would be in line with the National Rifle Association's recommendations and standard protocols. a public hearing notice was sent to all property owners within 200 feet. However, would like to let you all know that within 200 feet, those residences on the other side of Uzzell did not fall within 200 feet, so they haven't received a notification on the public hearing. The city zoning ordinance have several criteria listed based on which we review SUP requests. So if you look at the staff report that was provided, it includes those 12 specific items. They are, I can quickly go over them. Number one, it's conformance to comprehensive plan. This request does not tie into a specific comprehensive plan land use related goal. However, it does promote safety within the community, which is one of the recent core values that was adopted by the city. The other item required, the other criteria was about compatibility with the character of the neighborhood. The proposed shooting area does not propose any high-intensity development. The only thing that the applicant is proposing is installing a carport to kind of use during rain and sun when the weather is bad, I guess. The third criteria is for the suitability of the property for uses permitted by right. The property is zoned open single-family residential. However, as you can see from the location and the map that was provided in the packet, we have on the north and west side, there are non-residential uses. On the other side, you have vacant residential properties. However, a large portion of the area is already owned by the owner. So, and there's pipelines going through the property. So this may not be the most suited property for land uses permitted by right. Then we look into criteria for detrimental impact on the neighborhood property. You all know that generally shooting ranges do result in noise-related concerns in the surrounding area. However, as I mentioned, the applicant intends to use multiple means to achieve sound reduction, like including the berm, the existing vegetation around it. They're also planning to use suppressants. And we have the applicant here tonight, and they have some readings that they've taken from some sample shootings to get a feel for how loud is the noise in that area. Then we look at traffic and parking related issue. Since the traffic patterns are not going to change significantly because it's not going to be a training venue on a day-to-day basis, and it's primarily dedicated for the police department, we don't anticipate significant change in traffic patterns. Harm to the value of nearby properties. As I mentioned, the surrounding area already has heavy commercial operations and properties that are zoned on the east side of Uzzell, so we do not anticipate significantly different impact in terms of the value of nearby properties. Impedance to orderly development of surrounding vacant area. As I said, the abutting areas to the subject site is also owned by the owner, and it's the pipeline company, so we do not see significant impedance to the development of the surrounding property because of this request. Since the property use does not require additional utility, and they'll be depending on what the existing public works facility have for their parking and some of the other utility related needs, we do not see any significant impact on that. The other criteria is about safe site development and layout. This use is gonna be just the berm, the surrounding vegetation, the existing slab, so there's no significant change in respect to that. Lighting wise, there's gonna be no power on site. There's gonna be no operation at night. There may be some operation when the time zone, there's the daylight saving change that happens. In terms of landscaping and screening, as I mentioned, there's going to be the berm, the existing vegetation. It's behind the public works facility, away from the right-of-way, so that's taken care of. And then, as I mentioned, this would be primarily for the police department's training purposes, and they'll be using all recommendations and policies proposed or which is part of the National Rifle Association, in terms of their operations to make it safe and make sure there's no negative impact on health and welfare of the whole community. Staff is recommending approval of the SUP request with 3 conditions that are listed in the staff report. One of the condition is to make sure that the proposed berm is maintained all time during the operation of the proposed use. All range equipments and accessories are stored in an existing secure building or in close vicinity of the subject site, or in a storage container which is not visible from the right of way, to make sure that there's equipments can be stored safely over there. And then all shooting shall be directed away from Uzell Road on the side where we have vacant area instead of the other side.
Okay,
That is
thank
it.
you. Any questions for staff?
So you said mainly for PD. So is it going to be open to public at all?
We have the applicant here, he can answer more, but what's been indicated is like primarily for police officers training. However, there could be occasional situation if the police department is running like an awareness program or a
So another
event
police
open for the public.
department, Not individuals then?
Not a public.
It's
Yeah,
not.
Not public,
It's
so
not
it'd be
going to be
more,
public.
say, another agency.
Another agency, another law enforcement agency
well, yeah.
can utilize this.
What weapon caliber?
So we utilize 223, 5.56 for rifles, 940 pistol calibers. The largest rifle round would be, say, the SWAT team sniper, which is a 308.
Okay.
But the berm is designed to handle, 50 calibers.
Maintenance on the berm, is that in there?
Yes, that's one of the conditions we are.
I didn't, that's why I was asking, I didn't see it, so, yeah.
So I'm looking at the map here. So I guess the areas that are directly around it, not across the street from Uzell, are those businesses or those residents?
Directly surrounding it,
Yes, I couldn't really tell.
so one of them is the Public Works compound.
The one in front.
The one on the north side is the Enterprise or Houston Pipeline Company.
Correct.
So all the residences are across the street.
Yes, sir.
That is correct.
What do you guys practice at right now?
Right now, we hope that someone will let us use theirs, and we either use Alvin's or Lake Jackson's or.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions for staff before we have the public hearing? And we still have the agenda item too, so if you have any more questions, we can get to them there. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing then at 6:32. This is to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city by amending the zoning classification of approximately 0.18 acre tracts of land generally located east of Uzell Road, a portion of PID 171882 with access to property from 9431 Uzell Road, from open single-family residential to open single-family residential district with specific use permit, providing for the granting of a specific use with conditions to authorize the use for property. NAICS code 7133990, all other amusement and recreation industries, providing for the amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof. Okay, we'll open them for public comments on this. And second call for public comments. Yes, sir. If I can get you to state your name and address for the record, please.
Jack Garner. Hey, I just have one question. Where's that shooting range? Is it on this map that y'all sent us, or is it in another location? The map you sent everybody, joining property owners.
That's a different location. That's for the previous item.
Okay, that's just, and the shooting range is not on this property here? Okay. I live right there. That's why I was curious about that. Thanks, sir. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And final call for public comments. And we'll close the public hearing for this at 6:34. Okay. Let's see, we'll do consent agenda, which is just to approve the meeting minutes to date. Any questions or anything?
Motion to approve.
Second? And all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Is that 6-0? Okay, regular agenda, item A, consideration of possible action to approve final plat for Meridiana Section 4B East. Who would like to tell us about that one?
Hi, good evening. Yes, this is for the Meridiana Section 4B East. The proposed plat is a new residential section for the Meridiana Master Plan Development that was approved in 2009. The 23rd Amendment to Meridiana General Plan, GDP, was approved back in March 2024. The Third Amendment to the Meridiana OPUD was approved by the City Council in April 2024. The subject site is located within the City of Manvel and is part of the Brazoria County Municipal Utility District Number 57 and Brazoria County Drainage District Number 5. The site is located eastern side of Meridiana Parkway along the western side of the Briscoe Canal, adjoining the eastern boundary of the recorded Section 4A East. The proposed section includes single-family residential lots with a minimum of 55 feet lot width, and the proposed plat is 12.02 acre tract into 45 residential lots, 2 blocks, and 2 reserves for landscaping, open space, and utility purposes. The plat is generally conformed with the preliminary plat that was approved back in July 2024. The city staff recommends approval of the Meridiana Section 4B East final plat with one condition. Provide a letter of no objections from the GCWA, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Who has questions?
These are all supposed to be 65-foot lots?
Yes. Yes.
Every one of them, or is there a percentage? That can be less?
That's a minimum, so there's some that are bigger, but 55 is the minimum.
Because there's 2 in here that are under the 65.
It's 55.
Oh, I thought it's 65.
No, it's a 55.
Then I misread that. Okay.
What are the questions?
That's it.
Any? Motions?
Move that we accept with condition.
All in favor? And motion carries unanimously, 6-0. Okay. Agenda item B, consideration and possible action to approve the final plat for Meridiana Section 6 East. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this is Meridiana Section 6 East final plat. This proposed plat is a new residential within the Meridiana Master Plan, OPUD, that was approved in 2009. The 23rd Amendment to Meridiana GDP was approved back in March 2024. The Third Amendment of the Meridiana OPUD was approved in April 2024. This site is located in City of Manvel and is part of the Brazoria County MUD number 57, Brazoria County Drainage District number 5. The subject site is located on the eastern side of Meridiana Parkway along the eastern side of the future South Inspiration Way, adjoining the southern boundary of recorded Section 4A East. The proposed section includes single-family residential lots with a minimum of 55 feet lot width. The proposed plat subdivides a 23.67 acre tract into 88 residential lots, 4 blocks, and 4 reserves for landscaping, open space, utility, and drainage. The plat generally confirms with the preliminary plat that was approved back in March 2024. The city staff recommends approval of the Meridiana Section 6 East final plat with one condition: to provide a letter from the GCWA.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this one?
Just have a
Yes, ma'am.
question. Both of these, now you're asked, the letter of obligation, is that something that's written in that needed to be submitted with it, and they just didn't do it because it's the same?
That's, do you want to?
So it's one of the items that we have as a requirement in the subdivision ordinance that whenever there's an entity or political entity that is involved or is close by, we get letter of no objection to make sure that the project is not causing or triggering anything from that entity's perspective. A lot of times what happens is they contact the entity on time, but sometimes due to coordination and stuff, there might be slight delay. So it's not something that they've disregarded, and we also let the GCWA know that this is a project that is in the process. So that's why we are recommending conditional approval, because it's just a timing issue. You never know, we may get it tomorrow. So.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Motions?
Motion with the approval, with the conditions.
Second.
All those in favor? And motion carries unanimously 6-0. Okay, agenda item C, consideration possible action to approve a 30-day extension for the amending plat for Sunset Gardens, amending plat number 1.
So this is a request for a 30-day extension based on the provisions of the Texas Local Government Code. The applicant has submitted an amending plat. Usually this plat would be kind of administratively reviewed and approved. However, based on the location of the property, we would like to bring it to the Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission for approval because it involves certain portion. It involves property being dedicated to the city as well, and we can get into the details when we bring it back. The applicant was not able to meet the deadline, so they're requesting like an 30-day extension so that it can be acted upon at the next meeting. And just to let you all know, we've already received the resubmittal today, so we'll bring it at the next meeting.
Okay.
And staff is recommending approval of the extension.
Okay. Any questions or ready for motions?
I mean, postpone it till next month,
Okay.
or next meeting.
So to approve the request for the extension?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? And motion carries unanimously 6-0. Okay, and so these are going to be the agenda items for the public hearings. So the first one is the consideration of possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council Ordinance 2025-0-01. This is going to be for the Manvel Town Center. Okay, so what other, so we had the one question from the public hearing of, of the property involved. Do we have an easy answer to that, or?
I would say if somebody's claiming they own title, that's something that was not part of the application, we look into that, but of course, I think we also do basic title report work too when things are subdivided. And if that didn't show up, we'd be curious to know why. So I think in talking to Joe's, we might recommend that we just defer this to the next meeting to maybe at least look in and see if it needs another title report, or to look at it, or maybe have another one done.
Okay.
To see if, what this gentleman is saying is correct, because I guess the first I've heard of it was tonight, and I think that would probably be what we do, is at least to check the title work.
Okay, yeah.
That's the situation we're in from a planning perspective too. We prepared this agenda item with an understanding that this is an amendment to an existing PUD, which went through the process, and all the information regarding property ownership and authorization that we received from the applicant checked out. So we moved forward, and now that we are aware of this situation, we would like a few days to research and see what we find out.
Okay. So
So has any land been disturbed? I mean, have they ripped up any land that's his, or that he's saying that's his? Because I can't prove anything, but yeah, I'm just curious. Okay.
I'm not sure how to answer that question because I don't know unless we go and take a look.
So we want to defer it till the
mean,
next meeting.
Yeah, so we'll table this item. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a motion to table it?
Don't.
And I have so as you all know, the applicant is here too. I'm not 100% sure if the applicant is aware of this situation. My assumption is they're not because everything that was submitted as part of the application did not have any reference to that. And I'm not 100% sure if they would like to speak at this point, yes or no. All right. So that's the same situation that we are in. So that way, tabling it or postponing it, what's the right?
Will we have enough information by the next meeting, please?
Well, can you guys come back and give us an update on it if we table it this time?
Yeah.
That's fine.
So tabling is, okay. So,
To make a motion.
yeah.
We'll make a motion.
Motion that we table it for further information.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, and
Who was
we
the
will
second
table
on
that unanimously, 6-0. Say again?
Who was the second on that?
There were several.
All of us.
Either or. Either or.
Just choose one.
And also, when this does come back, can we get, like, since y'all are going to do all the investigating on it, can we get an actual map of what he's talking about? And
Yeah,
make sure
I'd like to
it's
see
where
it.
we can see it and all that so that we can understand exactly too?
Sure, absolutely, we'll do that.
Okay. Okay, moving on to agenda item E then, this will be consideration and possible action to approve and forward with recommendation City Council ordinance number 2025-0-02, which will be for the Manvel Police Department shooting range. Were there other questions or information needed on this one? Yes,
Just
ma'am.
going back to, so this is only going to be for y'all. It's not going to be open to the public where maybe you can make a little extra money for the PD or anything like that?
No, so the only time the public will be invited is if we're doing a firearm safety class for the public.
Like a CPA class and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, another agency comes in, they work with y'all, they get to shoot. I'm assuming one of y'all are gonna be there while they're there.
So we require, depending on the size, at least 1 or 2 range officers. So as long as they provide their range officers, then we're fine with that. But they also will have to check in with us and we'll have to know that they're there.
So is it just licensed officers or is it cadets as well?
Just licensed officers.
Okay, that's,
Just
I
like,
didn't know if you were gonna open up to, say, a school that's doing training and things like that down the line, I mean.
not that I want to, but I mean,
Just gotta ask, so,
no.
yeah.
Like Alvin and College of the Mainland, they all have their own ranges.
We were just
Actually,
looking for
ACC does
clarification.
not have a range right now.
And just so y'all know, sound mitigation wise, I went out today and did some decimal readings out on the location. And on location, inside the range area, the average rating for a pistol and rifle was around 140 decibels. And at the property line, it was under 50 or under 62. So it's still under the city ordinance. It's not going to leave the property.
And this property will be fenced all the way around?
So we'll have a 21-foot tall berm all the way around it.
Okay,
And except for a small 10-foot opening that'll be fenced.
okay.
Okay, other questions?
Nope.
No. Motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
With the 3 conditions, though?
With the conditions?
Yes. With conditions.
Always.
Okay, all in favor of approval with 3 conditions? And motion carries unanimously, 6-0. Okay. Agenda item F, presentation of the draft strategic plan by Keating East Collaborative.
just a quick introduction. We have Jennifer Mack, who is with Kendick East Collaborative. We've been working with this group since early 2024 as part of a project to accomplish a strategic plan, a comprehensive plan, and a major thoroughfare plan. Now, I don't want to get into all the details because Jennifer is going to cover that. It involved this is the culmination of the strategic plan, which involved some public hearing in the past and all of that. I just want to mention one thing though, so that it's highlighted and emphasized. We do have a kiosk that's outside, which includes a survey where you can answer some of the questions to help us with the finalizing the strategic plan. Jennifer.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Mack, architect and urban designer with Kendick East Collaborative. So as Joe's mentioned, we're working on 3 plans. They kind of all feed into each other, so they really go hand in hand. The strategic plan is kind of what I'm presenting to you tonight, but that is kind of like the building blocks for the comprehensive plan and the thoroughfare plan. So with that, as Joe's mentioned, we started the project back in February of last year, did the initial engagement rounds, worked on the Manvel Today report, which is a lot of like the existing conditions. Then we've been working on the proposed strategic plan from October to November, presented the initial draft to City Council in November. Right now, we're currently doing a round of social media engagement to get public feedback. So not only for the kiosk out there, but then we also have some online opportunities through City of Manvel's Facebook page, which takes you to a survey that you're able to fill out. It kicked off last Monday, and then there's also some additional opportunities this week as well. And then the plan is incorporating those changes or having a list of those changes and then bringing it back to City Council next Tuesday, January 21st. So with you all, that orange box that you see right there, that's where we're at right now, is November to May. So working really on that future Manvel phase, which is the comprehensive plan and the thoroughfare plan focus, doing some further engagement activities. So on the bottom left-hand side there, you'll see the potential workshops. Those are the ones that we're proposing to have with you all. That's February 24th, March 24th, and April 28th. And then from there, we'll go into that purple box there for the implementation and adoption phases, where we'll go back to City Council for the 3rd workshop, have an open house on the draft plans, and then also have the hearing of the draft plans for roughly around the summertime. So now if I can switch over to the City of Manvel website. This is the cityofmanvel.com/520/futures-manvel. And so here you'll see where we're at in the process. So that middle hexagon there that you see is phase 2. That's where we're at right now. You'll also see get involved with the project and where we are in the process. And you'll see a presentation link. If you click on that, it'll take you to that November 4th presentation that we gave, very similar to today, but just in case. And then I know you already have it in your packet, but for anybody maybe that wants to see it, this direct link also takes you to a PDF that you can see of the strategic plan. And then this link here is really important. It's that Manvel Plans website. If you click on there, it'll take you to this interactive plan summary. So this is going to be updated throughout the project, but for right now, it's the Manvel 2045, key facts and figures, and then if you scroll down, you'll see notable statistics. And so these are just some summary highlights of that Today report that I mentioned. And then if you click on here, View Manvel Today report, right now it's still pending. We're wrapping up those few last changes that we have. And then you'll be able to click on there and it'll take you directly to that PDF report that I was talking about, where here, these are just highlights of all the different statistics, but you'll actually be able to dive into more of the data and see the comparison cities. So where Manvel is in comparison to I think it was 3-4 other cities that we have. And then if you keep on scrolling down, you'll also see that we have some highlights of the community input. You can kind of hover over some of these if you want to dive into more detail. And then there's also View Community Survey Report, where you can click and actually dive into the survey report. So this is meant to be just a quick, if you're interested but you don't want to read through everything, you can just kind of get a highlight. You even have drop-down menus here about what positives about Manvel today energize you the most. And all this information was taken from the survey report that ran last May, where we received 676 responses. And then we also got additional public input through 9 focus group sessions. We had a forum on Manvel's future back in April. And then we had various meetings with the Chamber, Project Working Group, and the City Council. So this is kind of like all the highlights from all that information. So now if we switch back over to the PowerPoint, wanted to kind of give you a sample. That's why I was kind of going through that a little bit fast so that I can kind of dive into just a couple of the input of what some quotes that people had said. So they've said something like, I like the way it's developing, although the development is very scattered right now. Residents in Old Manvel feel forgotten. My favorite things change as the community changes. I can live in the country and get to work in 20 minutes. And one of the other things that we even did at the forum was we had the attendees look at the 2015 goals and see whether or not they agreed or disagreed with them. So we had them put green dots for everything that they still agreed with and red for things that they disagreed with. And what we found was that, they still agreed with a lot of the same goals. It's just that we need to kind of tweak them slightly and take into account the new residents that are in the mix. Since things have grown really rapidly since 2015, things have changed quite a bit over here. So just in case, for those that might not know, strategic planning is the process of arriving at a clear consensus, getting on the same page about where you are, where you want to be, or how you'll get from here to there, or how to best position yourself in the future. So the real goal and benefit from strategic planning is a common understanding of your situation and core functions now and in the future. The ultimate goal of strategic planning and thinking is to position oneself to anticipate needs and desires versus reacting most of the time. So strategic plans, just in case you don't know, they come in many forms and they vary in their focus. So businesses and organizations, including churches and nonprofits and education institutions, they typically are clarifying their internal mission and confirming the essential values. And then they use that information to best allocate available resources or invest in future growth. So then military strategies, it could be variety if it's planning for a single upcoming battle or if it's the overall defense mission of the country. Football, same thing. With football, it's actually on the offensive side of the ball, getting it across a literal goal line. So, in the end, that's what you're typically trying to do. So with government entities, it's kind of a hybrid of that, where they're looking at core values and internal organizational structure, or it's basically a vision plan for the community. So with Manvel, we tried to do kind of focus it more really on a physical planning focus because it's going to tie directly into the comp plan and the thoroughfare plan. So unlike some other strategic plans, the Manvel 2045 strategic plan stops short of getting into specific action items because the strategic plan is intended to kind of provide the direction, so that vision portion, and then flow right into the comprehensive plan, and that's where we'll have the near-term and immediate strategic actions in the comp plan. That's where those will be identified. And it'll be all consistent with the vision and guiding principles. So there on that right-hand side, you see the overview of the strategic plan. I'm going to hop into each one of those, but I just kind of wanted to give you that overview so you know that it's the vision and mission, the community values, and then guiding principles, aims and aspirations, area trends and influences, and then the shared priorities and concerns. So what is a vision, right? A vision describes where you want to be in the future as a community and organization. It's usually big picture and long range, a statement of aspirations. So the vision, based on all the community input, everything that we've talked about for the past basically year, we've came up with was a distinctive, secure, and highly livable suburban community that combines the best of city and country living, including verdant natural landscapes, excellent public services, and a variety of quality in-town housing and shopping opportunities in a curated, oasis-like environment amid the south central portion of the Houston metro area. Now, I should have mentioned we have already started receiving feedback on this, so it's not we're still going to modify it according to the feedback that we've received. So if you haven't given your feedback yet, please let us know if you also have any recommendations. And then with the mission statement, this is actually what we plugged in from the City Council because they recently adopted the mission statement this past year. So just in case, for the benefit really of people online, their mission statement is the City of Manvel is a safe and responsible community, embracing the values of our past, present, and future citizens. So we went ahead and plugged that in as well as the 7 core values because a mission defines what an organization sees in its core activities and responsibilities on more of a day-to-day basis in working toward that longer-term vision. So basically, what are you trying to accomplish? And we thought that fit in perfectly with everything that we've heard thus far. So on community values, the community and leadership really drove the vision, as I keep on harping on. Values identify what matters most to a community and how it wishes to be viewed by others. So in listening to stories and memories about Manvel over the past several months here, these are kind of what kept coming through very consistently. So enjoying a town and country lifestyle, being a part of, yet apart from, Greater Houston, a commitment to neighborliness and family values, desiring safe and congested roads and neighborhoods, supporting local institutions and businesses, providing safe and enriching environments to children and seniors, preserving the area's natural rural landscapes, keeping the cost of housing as attainable as possible for the most people, and taking pride in an open and friendly community spirit. So this word cloud actually was derived from the survey that I mentioned what people took last May. So we asked them to describe a better version of Manvel that you'd like to see upon your return if you had to leave Manvel and come back in 20 years to live again. So those larger words that you see there were words that were mentioned the most. So as you can see, by far, safety was everyone's top concern, followed by clean, green, community, beautiful, diverse, friendly. And then it goes on from there. So the reason why I have this up is because, as you can see, it very much relates to the community values, and all this helped to inform the following guiding principles. And so going forward, Manvel officials and staff can apply the new vision along with the guiding principles when weighing various choices. So whether it's annual budgeting or capital project planning, department programs, staffing, grant pursuits, new or expanded partnership zoning applications, they can basically take a look at it and say, does this align with our strategic plan? And then if it does, move forward. So basically having some kind of reference document to be able to make any crucial decisions. So we have 8 guiding principles there. This is just a summary of all of them, but basically it's safe, the largest one on that graphic that you just saw, connected, sustainable, prudent, opportunistic, healthy, age-friendly, and welcoming. So I was going to read through each one of these guiding principles and take a brief pause just so it can kind of sink in. But today into the future, Manvel will strive to be more safe. Manvel will be a safe, protective, and disaster-resistant community with reduced speed traffic on local streets, ample sidewalks, engaged residents, responsive public services, and neighborhoods, and infrastructure consciously designed to protect lives and property. Today into the future, Manvel will strive to be more connected. Manvel will be an increasingly connected and accessible community, both in a physical sense and through events and other places and opportunities for its residents to gather and interact. It will expand upon its regional ties via highways and arterials to include a network of local through streets, in-city trails, and sidewalk-equipped neighborhoods, except in its most rural areas. Evolving technology and networks will link it even more to the nation and world. It will be an inclusive and neighborly community that provides opportunities for youth, seniors, and residents to thrive, including through more alternative mobility options. Today and into the future, Manvel will strive to be more sustainable. Manvel will be an even more fiscally and environmentally sustainable and resilient city that protects its natural resources, encourages alternative and redundant forms of transportation and energy, adapts smoothly to change, seeks to mitigate weather-related hazards and damage to property, and strikes a balance between its commercial and residential tax bases and between areas of the community and visibly distinct suburban character relative to the rural character. Today into the future, Manvel will strive to be more prudent. Manvel will be prudent in how it safeguards its long-term financial position, in part through an ongoing commitment to strategic and comprehensive planning, as it continually monitors and evaluates the best way to grow, develop, and mature as a community. Today and into the future, Manvel will strive to be more opportunistic. Manvel will maintain its emphasis on phased economic development as its residential population continues to build and as new market opportunities become feasible and attractive in such a growing community. The City of Manvel and the Manvel Economic Development Corporation will continue to sync their strategic planning efforts to ensure that private and public investments are aligned and consistent with community values and objectives for making the city an appealing place to live, work, and invest. And today and into the future, Manvel will strive to be more healthy. Manvel will be a vibrant, healthy, and wellness-focused community that encourages recreation and outdoor lifestyles, promotes walkability and access to healthcare services and fresh food, and provides opportunities for positive community interactions. Today into the future, Manvel will strive to be more age-friendly. Manvel will be a full life cycle, age-friendly community that promotes quality of life at all life stages and encourages lifelong learning, personal autonomy, non-auto forms of mobility, diverse housing options for residents to age in place, and opportunities for both youth and seniors to make meaningful contributions to civic life. And today into the future, Manvel will strive to be more welcoming. Manvel will continue to be an open and welcoming place that respects diverse people and opinions and appreciates, if not always approves, good faith investments in the community, provides opportunities for meaningful and constructive community dialogue and feedback, and operates with the highest levels of decorum and civility. So with area trends and influences, these also, I'll go through these, but they also apply to issues and concerns that were brought up by residents. Some things the city might not be able to do anything about, but they can try to influence. So with us being local, we're located just up Highway 6 in Sugar Land, for those of you that might not know. But, you know, the growth of Houston metropolitan outward, fueled by the freeway system expansions, such as 288 expanding. I always joke, but no, seriously, driving down to Lake Jackson, I remember the 2-lane road, and now it's crazy. Even Highway 99, that whole expansion going around Houston, the Houston area. And then you have the commute-tolerant working population because of that. You know, increasingly diverse, and then the Houston economy continues to expand and diversify. And then you have the rise in regional costs, so it's difficult for first-time home owners. And then e-commerce has been definitely changing things. There's fewer physical stores, higher demand for warehouses, and then with the warehouses, you have the associated, you know, truck traffic, and then places that were rural, maybe not so rural now because the warehouses are going out farther out. And then you have consolidation of specialty retail stores where they're kind of being more selective in their locations, typically like higher density areas or higher household incomes. So that when I am talking about that, I usually think of like City Center because it's so dense right there. So more of the specialty stores kind of going over there. And then you have aging homeowners in many areas that remain landlocked in their oversized homes. due to, among other things, such as the rise in regional costs, but also due to a lack of quality senior housing options. So those are kind of some of the area trends and influences. So considerations for setting priorities, this is kind of what I was talking about, is some things for us to think about is what do we control, what can we influence, and what do we not control? And for where we have no control and minimal influence, how can we design our initiatives and methods to work around external influence or external factors so that we can at least try to reduce that risk? So what's next? The strategic plan will serve as a guide for updating Manvel's comprehensive plan. We're going to have refreshed goals, longer range objectives to work toward, and then the comprehensive plan will identify those immediate and near-term strategic actions that I mentioned earlier. So just to recap a little bit on that schedule, and so through those 3 important dates, or 4 really, if you include the adoption of the strategic plan for next Tuesday, January 21st, and then those 3 potential workshops that with you all for February 24th, March 24th, and April 28th. The Manvel Economic Development Corp., they recently did this economic development strategic plan this past fall by Next Move Group, and listed in the beginning of their document are 5 core strategies, and it aligns perfectly with everything that we've heard thus far. Just the comp plan is going to dive into those 6 categories that you see on the screen, so environment, growth capacity, land use, and community character, transportation, economic development, and recreation and amenities. So each one of those categories we'll dive into and drill farther in. So it'll be, we'll talk about legacy of the past planning, accomplishments, key planning issues and considerations for that topic, a framework for the action goals, and then individual actions based on those different categories. So one thing I just kind of wanted to leave you with, and this is something that we don't have an answer to at the moment, this is what we're diving into right now currently, is what will Manvel's future character be? So those 2 books that you see on the right-hand side were written by our owner, Brett Keast, and our strategic advisor, Lane Kindig. And basically, it talks about looking beyond really the land use, because I give an example of usually commercial. For example, you can say a parcel is commercial, but what does that mean, right? And I know y'all are planning and zoning, so you know exactly what I mean. But again, for the benefit of whoever's watching online, is that, does that commercial property look like downtown? Does it look like the town center, Manvel? Does it look like Sugarland? That kind of thing. What does it look like? So we'll be looking into, density and layouts of residential development, the scale and form of non-residential development, and even the coverage of land services. So not actually doing proposing any zoning changes per se, but kind of what is that vision and laying that out so that if there are potential zoning changes in the future, then at least you have kind of a guiding document that helps to be able to make those changes. So with that, that's all I have. Yeah, happy to answer any questions.
On the workshops, are you going to ask us our opinions of what's going on? Is that what I'm taking the workshops to be?
Yes, so it's a combination of things, but yes, a lot of times we'll have like a draft of just things that so like key planning issues and considerations, for example, and that way we can talk about those, and then if there's any additional ones that you have, then letting us know, that kind of thing. But we like to have a starting point usually so that we're just somewhere to start with from what we've heard thus far.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the times? You gave the dates like February 24th. What is it, at 6 o'clock, 5 or 6?
It's our regular meeting.
Regular meeting time?
Yeah, it'll be around that time.
Okay.
The regular meeting or an hour before, and it'll depend on your availability. We want to make sure that y'all are available.
Do you have a complete committee form for this already, for comp plan?
The idea was to have you, the Planning Development and Zoning Board, be that upfront board to help us navigate through it, and not have a separate body, because what this will result in is like a comprehensive plan, which is something
I see
that.
your point, but we've also in the past involved your community in it.
And
I know the last time.
Correct.
There were community members, there was council members, PD&Z, MEDC was on it. There was a bunch of different entities.
Correct. And on this one, we did have some of those in the past as part of the strategic plan exercise. Moving forward, when we get into the comprehensive plan, it's not a separate exercise altogether. It feeds off of the strategic plan, but at the same time, for the comprehensive plan piece, because it deals with the physical development process, we were of the opinion that the Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission would be in the forefront, but at the same time, the MEDC and the other boards, they would be in the loop. And we already have ongoing community engagement, so we constantly get input from the community as well through surveys, social media engagement, and also in person, like the open house that you talked about. And so it's just that rather than since we already have boards which are active, we thought involving them as individual boards would make more sense than creating a whole new body. But you're right. I mean, in the past, that's how we've done. There are other communities who take that approach when it's appropriate. But in this situation, based on how things have gone this far, it made more sense to take the other approach.
Because, I mean, on the last one, and we didn't just meet on meeting dates. We actually met on Saturdays and Sundays as well. So it was pretty tough. And that group was not the nicest. But they did come up with a lot of good plans out of it, so.
Well, they are using, like you said, all the other boards, and they've got, because.
So are these three separate dates? Are we looking to have one of these dates?
No, 3 separate workshops.
3 separate workshops, okay. And we'll be going over different things at each workshop?
Yes, we typically like to try to break it up into, so those categories that you saw there kind of at the end there. So we might do something like, since growth capacity is, well, we might be able to tie in environment and growth capacity together, land use and community character, that it depends. That can almost take its own, its own workshop. And then we might be able to combine transportation and economic development together. It kind of depends as we're starting to, as we're continuing to really draft it out and see what makes sense. But we typically like to kind of break it up because of that.
Okay. So I guess before we have these workshops, can you send us the agenda for the workshop so we can kind of prepare for and, have some questions if we need to ask or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
And since we're getting these questions, I was planning to talk about it next meeting, but one of the things that we've been collectively as staff been thinking is every second meeting of the month, we would include an item, a staff update item. And we plan to provide you with a few updates and things like, because outside of the planning, development, and zoning, Kentucky's Jennifer works closely with staff on, hey, this is the direction we are taking, or what are some of the directions that you've seen in the previous meetings from Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission. Like, for example, position on, say, development of multifamily buildings or uses, land use, or our position on lot size, things of the sort. We constantly collaborate. So we plan to bring some of those updates every second meeting of the month. That will be also an opportunity when, like, even before the plan is adopted, you would have those input from us too outside of those meetings as well.
Okay.
Anything else for this then?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
She's been working on this for a long time.
Consideration of possible action to direct staff to provide applicants written statements of the conditions of any conditional approvals and the reasons for disapproval of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas Local Government Code 212.0091. Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And all those in favor? And unanimous, 6-0. And if I can get a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously.